In fantasy football, we always like shiny new things, which is why we're always drawn to rookies. So that leads us to our segment of High Upside. It is time for High Upside, presented by Caesars Rewards. So let's talk some rookies. We all know we have our list of top 5 rookies for 2020 in fantasy football. I've got mine. Cynthia's got hers. We'll kind of do a snake draft thing here of our top 5 rookies, Cynthia. I will allow you, because you are the guest, and it's the nice thing to do, to be the number one pick here. Who are you starting with your top rookies?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And that's the easiest
Okay.
easiest question you'll ever ask me. Look, all it comes down to is opportunity. No Damian Williams means 100% opportunity boost for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's been great. And, I did get a chance to do a little intel on this, and I'm hearing he's really picked up the playbook well, but ultimately when it comes to running backs, the learning curve is shorter anyways. And it's Andy Reid, who has called something like 10 billion plays, and he knows how a little chess piece like Clyde Edwards-Helaire works. So I don't know. I think he's overall running back 10 for me. So some people have, I think his ADP was up to 5. Be careful with that. Let's go 10 and keep it nice and conservative.
Yeah, I would feel much better with him at 10 than at 5, but I know folks have kind of gotten really excited about what CEH
Very bullish. Very bullish.
Right. My number 2 rookie, because I'm with you on CEH being number 1, but my number 2 is Jonathan Taylor. And again, you talk about the learning curve being shorter for running backs. That is certainly going to help. I know Marlon Mack had a pretty good season, all things considered, last year, but the Colts really went out of their way to add one of the most productive runners in college football history to their roster. They're going to give him opportunities, and I think he's going to be that guy that you see as sort of that hammer down near the goal line. He's going to get quite a bit of work there for Indianapolis, and I like him. He's kind of more of a, I think, 3rd or 4th round pick, I think, maybe even a little bit later, I think, in a lot of drafts. But I think he's going to have a pretty big season there. So where would you go after Jonathan Taylor?
So if I go strictly by my current projections, it would be CeeDee Lamb next at the wide receiver position. But lately, as of yesterday, I had some conversations, and I'm actually thinking that one to really boost is DeAndre Swift. And I know Kerryon Johnson is there in Detroit, and I know I'm seeming like a bit of a homer because I'm a Lions fan, but it's actually, if you know anything about me, I stay away from the Lions because I'm a Lions fan, because they didn't get the name Lie Downs for nothing. So for me, when you look at DeAndre Swift and what he did at Georgia last season through his whole career, that is a huge piece that they're missing in Detroit. And Darrell Bevell knows how to use him. So when I'm talking about who they like, who's picking up the playbook, who seems like they're coming into camp just raring to go, I'm hearing DeAndre Swift. So he's getting a big boost for me, multiple, use in the pass catching game. And we've seen Kerryon Johnson have some injury history, and he's been great, but I think DeAndre Swift might be the running back to finally break my little lie downs curse.
Oh, all right. You know what? I sort of like him in that, sort of debating between 3 and 4, which way to go. Take him at 3. At 4, just slide in there and take Justin Jefferson, who I think, at least for this year, has the best to production. I think, when you talk about the ceilings for fantasy wide receivers, I think, you look at CeeDee Lamb, you look at Jerry Jeudy, you look at those guys. But in terms of what is available there in Minnesota, with Stephon Diggs now in Buffalo, Adam Thielen can't carry this passing game alone. I think Justin Jefferson, as the slot guy that they're talking about there, really is primed to have a pretty big season. So I think if you're taking a longer view, I think there's somebody else. It maybe is a CeeDee Lamb that I put in that slot. But if we're just talking 2020, I'm fine with Justin Jefferson there. So, so that's 4.
I love Justin Jefferson there. Justin Jefferson there. Justin Jefferson is my favorite receiver from this class because I watched the most film of him and tracked him. Just personal favorite, not the maths over here. But the other thing that people have been neglecting is go look when Adam Thielen's in the big slot, because you got to remember, slot doesn't mean one thing, right? It means there's not just one slot, So when it comes to that, and Justin Jefferson isn't just a slot receiver. Yes, he did earn the most yards between the numbers, and there are a lot of slot snaps you saw at LSU, but Justin Jefferson's more multiple than that. And I'm a big believer in Justin Jefferson, and I think that Gary Kubiak also can figure out how to use Justin Jefferson and unlock him quick. So I'm with you. I love that pick right there.
All right. Okay, so then we're rounding out our top 5. Who would you put in that 5th slot?
Okay, so I got to go with CeeDee Lamb on that one then, because the thing that's interesting, talk about the slot. I mean, these receptions are Amari Cooper, you go over there. Michael Gallup, you go over there. CeeDee Lamb, you run. Got it. Because who's the defense going to stop, right? Like they need to pick one, and they're probably, at least initially, they'll probably be like, okay, rookie, we'll give him a little bit of extra cushion. And I think that if you look to see where his resume is running those kind of West Coast Mike McCarthy opportunities in the slot. They're coming for Dak because they know Dak's going to get paid. Let's go. Like, let's see what this rookie can do. And I think especially initially, you'll see him, getting used to the offense. And then this is a guy who come week 5, 6, you're going to be like, that's a lot of catches.
Yeah, that Cowboys offense, I mean, that passing game, I think, is going to be high volume. It's going to be wide open. And I mean, I have been a big fan of Michael Gallup, but I think CeeDee Lamb, where he's coming off the board in fantasy drafts, has a lot of upside because of what you mentioned. I mean, the fact that, you have to pick your poison. Do you shut down Amari Cooper? Do you shut down Michael Gallup? Do you still have to focus on Ezekiel Elliott? There's going to be opportunity, I think, for CeeDee Lamb to step up and make some plays, and I think that's going to be exciting.
Cowboys have had the Cowboys have had a pretty great offseason. I mean, they started in a good spot, and then signed Everson Griffin for not a lot of money yesterday. These are crazy times where it's a good year to be a Cowboys fan. That the East is, sometimes it doesn't seem like people want to win that division, so it seems like the Cowboys might be wanting to win that one.
Yeah, they seem to have sort of taken control there, which, couldn't happen to a more modest guy than Jerry Jones.
Who would be your number 6? Who would be your number 6 rookie? It's a top 5, but, we need 6.
My number 6 would probably be Jerry Jeudy in Denver, because he was – look, I know he and CeeDee Lamb were sort of battling for 1 and 2 when it comes to wide receivers off the board. In the actual NFL draft. And so I think, there's going to be opportunity there in Denver for Jerry Jeudy to be a productive playmaker. So he would be the guy I have just after CeeDee Lamb.
One that I'm interested in really quick before, because I'm taking over here. Sorry. I want to know where you have Laviska Shenault, because he's an interesting one in Jacksonville, because that guy, when you watch what he did at Colorado, he's kind of like a running back-ish, wide receiver-ish meld. He's more like a Christian McCaffrey in terms of how they used him than I would have imagined, at least, right? So I think Shenault could be that surprising guy, because I think Jacksonville is going to need some help. Put it that way, need some help.
Yeah, I agree.
Shenault could be that.
He's a guy that I have taken shots at late in a lot of drafts, because I do think he's going to get opportunities. He was a Swiss Army knife at Colorado. He was kind of doing a little bit of everything there. And look, I haven't been able to completely get on board with Leonard Fournette, because the way I frame it is, how can you like a running back that doesn't seem to be liked by his own team, right? The Jaguars seem to want to be free of Leonard Fournette in any number of ways, right? They bring in Chris Thompson, they draft Laviska Shenault. I can't imagine that Leonard Fournette's going to catch 70 passes again this year the way he did last year. So I'm willing to take that late round shot at Shenault and hope that the upside takes over there. No, I'm totally on board with that. I'm glad I could make you laugh about the Fournette bit there.
They don't laugh. It doesn't seem like it. They're like, you and that beard. Ouch.
Gotta go.
Yeah.
Gotta go. So, hey, there it is. That was High Upside, presented by Caesars Rewards. Draft a team with NFL Fantasy this season, and you could win a trip to take your league to Caesars Palace, Las Vegas for the fantasy playoffs. Download the NFL Fantasy app, draft a team, and select the trip to Caesars Palace from among the 3 grand prizes you can win.